Hi, this is Alexis Steele with Music 101. This is the official launch of my Sunday night show here on Rock Out Radio, and I'd like to give a warm welcome to my first national recording artist, Tracii Guns, to our show. Welcome to Music 101 here on Rock Out Radio, Tracii. How are you?
Very good. Thanks for having me on your flagship launch.
Awesome. It's great. I guess you've been doing a lot of shows with your tour and on the East Coast, coming through New York and Pennsylvania, and I guess you're going to be heading down south after that, correct?
Yes. We're just kind of driving around, shaking hands with people, letting them know that there's new music and things are changing. So, yeah, we're having a good time out here.
Okay, great. Well, for our listeners that may or may not be familiar, Tracii was the original founding member and guitar player for both Guns N' Roses and LA Guns, and he's here to talk about his new project called The League of Gentlemen. Tracii,
right.
I've listened to your new music, and I must say that I'm very impressed with your new sound. Every song I heard was great, and each one has a different style and flavor to it. How did the name of the new band come about, and is there any special meaning behind it?
Well, my legacy that's been created so far through, the likes of Guns N' Roses and LA Guns, and I also had another band with Nikki Sixx called The Brides of Destruction. That was kind of the opposite of Gentlemen. It was kind of, more abrasive, sleazy kind of rock and roll. So, my reputation is one of the, I guess, for lack of a better term, the bad boy rock and roll kind of thing, which is, I always thought was kind of ridiculous anyways, but, so it's kind of a tongue-in-cheek Spinal Tap kind of stab at my own personal reputation, and I figured I'd put a bunch of other, nutty guys and music teachers together, because I have a really massive musical background, of learning and things like that. And I wanted to have a band where, I could kind of take the things that I really grew up listening to and the things that are really part of my style of what I listen to more than what I write. And so the guys in the band, we're all about my age, mid-40s, except Scott, the singer, he's only 30. And, it's more like a social club than a band. We got 5 guys that, we listen to music from the mid-20s all the way through the 70s, and we write music like that. So the League of Gentlemen, we were hoping that we'd get sued over it, so we could get some press and things like that. So everything's done kind of for the wrong reason.
Okay. Well, who does the lineup of League of Gentlemen consist of?
Okay, the League of Gentlemen consists of Donnie Gray, who people would know him from Burning Tree, which was Mark Ford, who ended up in the Black Crowes. He's the guitar player. That was Mark Ford's original national act. They're kind of like a Cream, Hendrix kind of thing. And Donnie's the drummer, and I've known him for about 30 years, and I've always wanted to play with him. So he was the first recruit. And then Patches, or Craig McCloskey, he's from the Philly area, actually. He's actually an amazing guitar player, but he plays bass in this band. And, again, a guy that's, thoroughly educated, super music nerd, trivia specialist kind of guy. And then John Bird, he plays organ and mellotron and piano. He literally is a music teacher back home in L.A. and knows everything about music theory and the way music works, when you put instruments together. And he's also a super nerd and a super music trivia guy. He's a real Beatles guy. And then Scott Foster Harris, he's the youngest guy, 30 years old. He thinks it's 1970 every day of his life. He's from Dallas, Texas. He used to be a bull rider. He started his own fight club when he was 15 years old. And but he is definitely the biggest sweetheart of a guy, and just an amazing vocalist. Natural ability, raw talent, great looking. One of us has to be, so he's the guy. And we just really, and then me, of course. And it's just the coolest thing I've ever done in my life.
Well, how would you describe your new music?
Well, it's not really anything like LA Guns, I mean, I suppose you would recognize my playing style because that's the one thing you don't change. You can't change who you are. But as far as the approach to the songwriting is really based, anywhere from the Moody Blues to Jimi Hendrix to the Eagles, all these types of great artists, from the past. That music has really stood the test of time. So, a lot of our stuff is heavily influenced by British rock, too, from the 70s. And the approach to the way we record the music is the same, too. It's a very vintage approach. We use a lot of lo-fi equipment and tape and tubes and analog and stuff like that. And we generally make the music for ourselves so we can have new records that we can listen to because all our favorite artists pretty much don't anymore. So that was kind of the idea behind the songwriting. And with that type of songwriting, we do a lot of covers, too. Like the album will have Without You by Harry Nilsson, or his version of the song. And we're doing one by Three Dog Night, which Harry Nilsson wrote. And I think we're doing The Witch by the Sonics. So it's all stuff that's, all kind of, late 60s, early 70s sounding and recorded that way. And actually it started being mixed yesterday back at home while we're on tour by a guy named Greg Worth, who is the Steve Vai's chief engineer, and he's just, an awesome, technician when it comes to recording and mixing. So, this album, by the time it comes out, it'll be exactly a year since we started it. So it isn't something we just slapped together.
Okay, great. So what actually influenced you to go in this direction as opposed to what you were doing previously?
That's a really good question. Throughout my career, I got signed when I was 21 years old. And when you're 21 years old is kind of when you're at your most focused, and that's the time in your life as any artist where if you have the desire to make it, that's when you really have the most naive motivation and focus. And, at that point, it completely was taken off guard that LA Guns had got signed at that time. We were a punk rock band, and then we got picked up by Polygram Records, and then we were turned into more of a kind of dirty rock and roll band. And with more appropriate songs that could be played on the radio. And so very early on in the major label game, you have to make compromises to keep the money coming in and kind of focus on your audience and what they would like and things like that. So having success with that at such an early age, it was a formula that worked. And I got good at playing that game and doing that whole thing. Now, before that, when I was a teenager, I did a lot of studio work. Starting at 16 years old, I played on other people's records and things like that. So, I've always had the ability to put on a different turtle shell or a different hat, whatever you want to call it. But I promised my mom, that when I turned 40, that I wouldn't do that anymore, and that I would just, kind of play what I wanted to play and write the kind of music I wanted to hear and what I would listen to. Not that I don't listen, well, I don't really listen to my old records, but I'm proud of everything I've done. I never slacked on anything. But, this style is what naturally comes out of my veins. I can close my eyes and not think, and this is what comes out. And I'm 46 now, so I'm 6 years late in my mother's eyes to do this. So, it's important to my whole family. I have a very respectable music background within my family. And, maybe they're just pissed at me because I had the most success with it. I don't know. But conforming to, a more classic, more earthy, organic musical thing. And it's what I'm best at. And I think it really shows, especially on the record that's coming out.
Well, what we're going to do right now is we're actually going to play one of your tracks. The first one that I have here is called Taste of Fear. Now, this has what I would consider like a very kind of more dark alternative kind of, to me, like a Godsmacky kind of sound. You know what I mean? It's just that real, raw kind of sound. And
well, I got to stop you there. It's not intended to in any shape or form or way. That's kind of the riff is a real psychedelic kind of riff that I caught from the Sonics. It's kind of got that kind of thing, and it's the drums are recorded with one microphone and things like that. But you're not the person to describe it as kind of a heavy kind of song like that. Maybe the vocals low, so people might equate it with that. But it's really supposed to be more of a Bauhaus, meets like an early '60s psychedelic. That's the intention for the song. I mean, everybody's going to hear the music's going to have a different interpretation. But
sure.
When I think of Godsmack, I think of awful revamped heavy metal, and the guitars on this are so not heavy metal. That it's kind of offensive when I hear it, and I don't mean that in a bad way. I just mean that's definitely not the intention. Yeah, I think people need to realize though that there's great bands from the dawn of time that sang in this style that didn't ride Harley Davidsons. They were more kind of creepy beatnik kind of vibey people. And that's one of the, back to why we made the record. It's educational. There's a lot of stuff like this going on before things got refined and Live Nation bought into it and all these kind of things. This is completely the anti way that music's being done today thing. So.
And okay. We'll be right back on Rock Out Radio.
Like the Viet Cong. I don't speak Vietnamese.
Okay, great. Now that was really an awesome track. Tracii, who actually does the songwriting for this project?
Well, most of the stuff on this first record was me and Scott. We have a song called "The Sound" that actually I wrote with Marty Casey, who was in LA Guns for a while. But the bulk of everything is mine and Scott's. But you know, we're already writing for a second record, which won't happen for at least a year. And now that the band is completely put together, it's more of a collaborative thing. So it's probably the next record will probably be another leap in one direction or another. But yeah, Scott actually lives across the street from me, and I recently got him in this house, so we could be real close to each other to get everything done and be able to work, all the time. I also have a 4-year-old son, so when I'm home, I can't be running all over town. I have to stay close to home.
Now, what is your favorite track of the new CD and why?
Wow, that's a tough question because every song is so different, for different reasons. I think, honestly, I can't tell you I have a favorite track. Maybe Saginaw Blues. That's probably the most off the cuff.
Tracii, how many songs are on your new disc?
Well, we recorded 16, and I think there's going to end up being 14 on the album. And the reason being is because we're doing a double vinyl for the record as well. And you can really only, to preserve quality, have about 21, 22 minutes on each side of an album.
Okay.
So it's kind of like, each one of the discs will have, one side will have 4 songs, one side will have 3 songs, another side will have 4, another side will have 3. And we had to do that. We're not going to do bonus tracks or anything like that. So it'll be a total of 14 songs. And, one of the songs is, 10 minutes long. So, it's a lot of music.
Okay, awesome. So coming from the 80s glam scene, what do you think of today's music?
There are some things I really like. There's a band called The Heavy out of England that always comes to mind recently. They wrote that song, How Do You Like Me Now, which is pretty much used in every television commercial at this point. They are a great band. They mix up, all this vintage kind of technology with modern technology. And Calvin Swaby, the singer, he's just the most soulful black man, and they're incredible. As far as other music, I don't really know. Every time I turn the radio on, they're playing something new, I instantly turn it off. So it's really hard to say. Everything sounds real digital to me. Country music, every song sounds exactly the same to me. There's no rock, so there's no new rock really to ever listen to anywhere. So I just keep listening to the stuff I've always listened to. Elton John and Aerosmith, Led Zeppelin, Pink Floyd. The real good stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's the thing. Now with your new CD coming out, there's new rock coming back into the picture again, and that's what we really need right now.
Yeah, I agree, and, one of the things that I've been able to establish, throughout the last million years or however long I've been around doing this is the ability to completely go against the grain of what's popular, and, that was the struggle I was having in LA Guns for years, is that we were getting closer and closer to this, singer-songwriter set, within the confines of, a silly punk rock band with black hair. You know, we wrote some great music that no one will ever know about because we were in a genre. And the last thing anybody really needs to do is to be in a genre. You know, you're just supposed to be an artist, and you're supposed to create on a daily basis, and things are different all the time, you know. So, you know, music's subjective, you know. You love what you were brought up on, you know. It's pretty simple. But the educational system in the United States, as far as music goes, there is none. So not only are children and teenagers not learning how music works, but they're not identifying with music on any, you know, ground level. You know, they listen to what their friends listen to and whatever they hear in computer games and stuff like that, because that's really where music is sold, is through, you know, all kinds of things online and associations with movies and associations with television. So, like, you know, what's good music? Well, the theme song for True Blood is good music, you know, because it really is.
Sure.
And so that's where people are really getting hip to things. And, you know, it's a whole new era, and the arts seem to be suffering the most, you know, people's appreciation.
Right. Absolutely. So what we're going to do now is play another track from Tracii's new CD. This is called The Sound. Do you want to give a brief description on that, Tracii?
Yes. The Sound was a song originally written by me and Marty Casey. Marty Casey was the runner-up on Rockstar Supernova. He's this blonde kid from Chicago. He was actually in LA Guns for a year. But before he was in LA Guns, we wrote and recorded a whole album that got held up by the label, and it never came out. So this song, The Sound, it was my favorite song that we recorded. And it's really about just a guy who kind of goes nuts, you know, who has voices in his head, and ever since he was a kid, and there's no escaping it. And the lyric was created behind the music that I wrote, and the music is very kind of eerie and haunting, and you know, kind of give you these feelings of, you know, someone coming up behind you, kind of a little bit like a horror film, I suppose. And it always just you know, every time it would come around on my my iTunes playlist, I go, man, you know, I got to get that song out somehow. So we rewrote it a little bit, and we recorded it for this record. And people that are hip to the new songs, because we have a Reverb Nation site that has all these demos up on there, a lot of people, this is their favorite song that we're doing right now.
It is. I really like it, too. It's a really cool song.
Right on.
All right, on that note, let's play the song and let our listeners take a listen. Tracii, since the music industry has changed as a whole from when you first started out, how is your being signed to Shrapnel going to affect your project now, and how do you feel about getting signed to Shrapnel?
Well, Mike Varney, who's been running Shrapnel for nearly 30 years now, he's an old friend of mine. You know, he was a columnist in Guitar Player magazine off and on, you know, for his whole career. He's a great musician himself. He really caters to kind of a specialty crowd. You know, he makes guitar-oriented records, you know, whether it's jazz or blues or metal or whatever. And he's a real music fan. You know, he really loves music, and he's really interested in what everybody's doing and what they're playing and what they're creating. And when I originally set out on this project, I was going to do the whole thing from nuts to soup. You know, everything. I was going to write the music, record the music, mix the music, do everything myself. And then we started getting tour dates, you know, to do like a pre-promotional tour, which is what we're doing now. And I just don't have the time, you know, in the day to, you know, wear every hat that you have to do to be successful and not have things fall through the cracks and mistakes happen. So I called Mike and I said, Mike, what do you suggest I do here? You know, I've got the record pretty much done and all this stuff. And at the time, I had a Kickstarter project launched to just do the vinyl portion of the record. Because the easy part is the digital part. You know, you throw it up on iTunes, it's done, boom. And you go play, and you know, I'm really connected to TV and film at this point, so it's going to be easy once the album's done to get, you know, these things heard by, you know, millions of people through the television rather than the radio. So we had a few conversations, and you know, what he suggested is like, hey, you know, look, I'll do the daily work, you know, talking to distributors and buying the promotions that you have to buy to get your CDs placed in you know, Starbucks and Walmarts and all these horrible corporations. But that's what he's good at. And, you know, I'm not stupid. You know, to run a business, you have to have a business. So he's really going to handle the business on that side, where I'm left on the other side. I can do my vanity albums and vanity cassettes and, you know, completely keep things organic on my side while he does a more modern structure, you know, with an actual release date and things like that. And we've made videos, so we have things, you know, ready to go, you know, right before the release of the record. And there's some other things beyond Shrapnel that have come to light in the last few days. This guy, Artie Kornfeld, who was the producer of Woodstock and also produced many artists and signed many artists, and another guy named Bob Johnson, and these aren't just other guys. These are guys that pretty much ruled the music business for the last 40 years. They're starting a new label, and they love the record really kind of a little bit too much. And they're really pushing me to jump on with them. They want to buy the record out from Shrapnel at this point and do some things. So, you know, I'm just a musician, you know, so I'm just trying to make the best decisions I can, you know, given the options that keep popping up every other day, you know. But, you know, Shrapnel, you know, Mike Varney's one of my best friends, and that's who we're signed with right now. And, you know, the release is supposed to be in January, and the record's being mixed right now, as I said before. So when it's done being mixed, then, you know, then that conversation is going to have to come up of, you know, how are we going to let these, you know, superhuman, big league, you know, music business type guys, let them run with the ball. So that's kind of conversations that haven't been had yet. But it's all very exciting and it's interesting. And at my age, most guys wouldn't be doing this anymore.
Wow. Okay. Awesome. So to that effect, what would you attribute your drive as an artist? Art.
You know, it's pretty simple. You know, I never got in the music business to get laid. You know, it was always about the creation process, the ability to add what I do to other people's music as well as creating my own music. You know, that's always been what I was interested in. You know, especially, I started playing guitar for the sheer fact that Jimmy Page played a theremin, and I discovered that when I was 6 years old. Now I own that theremin. These are things that are really intriguing to me, is how to freak people out with sound, and emotional. Because in the end, music is what emotions sound like, and that's kind of a rule I live by. So it's just the ability to, really make people feel good, or to feel really bad, or to feel really angry, or to, get in touch with themselves, whatever that takes. And art, obviously, is, whether it's visual or audio or, any one of your senses, it has to be stimulating, in order for me to follow through with it. And that's the addiction, is the ability to stimulate people and watch their reaction.
Right.
Better than cocaine.
Who are your greatest musical influences, would you say, and why?
Well, I mean, as a guitar player, it has to be, the real innovators, the guys that really broke down walls, and that really starts with like Robert Johnson, Chuck Berry, later on Jimmy Page, Jimi Hendrix, Tom Morello, done some interesting things with the guitar lately. It's these kind of creative people as far as the guitar player goes. Then there's the whole other aspect of it. It's the producer, it's the production angle, and, guys like Eddie Kramer, Glenn Johns, Phil Spector, the Murderer, guys like this, they were able to really take music, particularly rock and roll music, and put it in a different light and make it sound different. But still using the same, 7 notes that us Westerners are given. There's so much to do with it, and it can affect people in so many ways. And let's not forget George Martin, the Beatles guy. These people made records that are just stunning, and that starts from the bass drum all the way to the guitar solo. There should never be unnecessary playing going on in any music. Everything should have a purpose and should trigger an emotion in a human being. And that's why these guys I mentioned, especially like David Gilmour, from Pink Floyd, with a guitar, these guys are able to move people, and without just turning a distortion pedal on and going chunk, clunk, clunk, because all that does is hit someone in the head. But, you can touch someone in the belly and the heart and the penis or the vagina, then you're rocking.
Right. Well, you were saying before, mentioning about a guitar, that you like playing. So what's your favorite style guitar that you enjoy playing the most?
My favorite style?
Your favorite guitar, you know what I mean? Like your favorite brand, your favorite,
Well, I have my own...
And also the style of guitar that you like playing as well. You can also, that as well.
Well, I have to say that I have my own signature model for Dean Guitars, which is supposed to be, basically, if I could have my dream guitar, that's what it would be. But that's also based around, the 51 Fender Nocaster, which later became the Telecaster, with, the late 50s Gibson Les Pauls. These are tools that they really got them right the second time. These manufacturers were making electric guitars before that, but there's something about, the 50s and the early 60s where these instruments hit their peak tonally. They allow you to become an extension of your humanity rather than enhancing any aspect of your sound or making it easier for you. These instruments are on the, I would say, the more difficult side to play as compared to like a more modern instrument, especially when you're incorporating styles of blues and country and a traditional kind of guitar playing. These guitars sound the best. They're not the easiest to play. It doesn't mean they're not easy to play. It means that they're way easier guitars to play, but those types of guitars, the more modern ones, they're kind of, cookie cutter kind of things. Anything that's made by hand is going to become part of your personality once you get used to it. And so all the guitars that I play are handmade guitars, and I just picked up a late 60s Fender Mustang, which is incredible. You know, it's just like, I've never played one in my life, even for 5 minutes in a music store. And a really good friend of mine, actually a good friend of a friend, we stayed at his house when we were in Illinois about a week ago, and he's had this guitar since before he was a teenager, and he wanted me to take it with me on tour, you know, and so it's with me right now. That's kind of what I'm playing, and it's you know, it's an old guitar, and it has tons of DNA all over it and within it, and yeah, we're seeming to get along real well right now.
Awesome. Well, we're going to take this time to play another one of your tracks. We're going to play this time Sugar Mama.
Oh, yeah.
You want to tell us about Sugar Mama? That's like almost has a, I don't know, funky kind of feel to it to me.
Yeah, Sugar Mama's kind of a mystery song. The version that we do of it is based on a demo that Led Zeppelin did of the song around the time of their first record. And we found out that, you know, a lot of kind of blues guys did versions of it, you know, from any era. I mean, I think Sonny Boy Williamson might have actually been the original writer, which would have been in the 50s or early 60s, but we're still unclear on who wrote it, you know, so we have to really buckle down and figure it out. But our version of it is definitely a very hard-hitting, funky James Brown, Hendrix overtone, Zeppelin overtone kind of thing, and it really sums up, you know, Scott Foster Harris, our vocalist, lifestyle. You know, it's all about the sugar mama and sexy women and respecting those women and letting them take care of him. And, you know, it's a beautiful thing, you know, and wow, what a sexy song that is. You know, that's why we do it. We couldn't find another cover that was more obscure but as great. And it's fantastic the way that we did it and recorded it, and I'm glad people are going to get a chance to really get to know a song like this. Very uncommon.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, well, here on Rock Out Radio, we're going to play Sugar Mama, new track from Tracii Guns. Tracii, I'd like to, for our listening audience that's in the New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania area, kind of mention some of the dates that you're going to be playing over the course of your tour. I know it's going to be, your first leg of your tour is going to be ending October 9th.
That's right.
And you have pretty many dates you're going to be playing over the course of that time. I guess September 19th, you're going to be at the Firehouse Barbecue and Blues in Richmond, Indiana.
Right, that's tomorrow, yeah.
Right, tomorrow. And September 20th, you're going to be at the Village Nightclub in Lancaster. We have September 21st at the Tattoo Shot Lounge in Brooklyn, New York. September 22nd, you're at Split Rock Resort in Lake Harmony, PA. That's out in the Pocono area.
Right, that's
the 23rd,
right.
You'll be at the Dead Horse in Pittsburgh. The 25th, Ollie's Point, Long Island, New York. September 26th, the St. Asbury Park, New Jersey. The 28th, the Dingbats in Clifton, New Jersey. And September 29th, you'll be at the North Star Bar in Philly.
Philly, that's right.
That's, you have pretty many dates going on between now till the end of the month.
Yeah.
Since, let's see, your first leg of the tour is going to be done October 9th. And what are you going to be doing after that?
Well, we should be home for about 10 days, and then the next leg starts the 21st of October, I think, in Golden, Colorado. So, we're doing a lot of shows before Christmas, pretty much. So, really we got about a week and a half off in between legs. And, we're just trying to really, get the band prepared for next year. Really get our legs, really make sure that when the record comes out that our show is just undeniably great. And this is the way you do it. You do it the hard way first so that when you get to do it the easy way, you really appreciate it. And, we're just, like I said, we're kissing babies and shaking hands right now.
Absolutely. How has having a family, becoming a father, affected or changed your career? And now that you have a son, will you teach your son guitar so he can follow in your footsteps?
I think it's more complicated than that. I let him, he's not even 4 years old yet, but, so far as music's concerned, he really enjoys, he's given the opportunity to listen to, everything already. He has his kids' music. He's not that interested in it. He's real interested in the Rolling Stones at the moment. Which is very surprising, but I'm glad, he's very rhythmic. He has a little drum kit. He's got guitars. He's got piano. He's got a recorder, and, and he loves to sing, and just really letting him be a little boy. The surprising thing is that I work a lot at home, recording and mixing and things like that, and he really has an interest in what the knobs do and how they affect the sound already, and he knows how to use an iPad. And I have and all kinds of, looping programs and drum machines and instruments on the iPad. And he spends a lot of time experimenting with those things, and he has been since he's about 2.5 years old. So I don't think I would push him in any direction other than the one he loves. Of course, we all hope our children grow up to be better at what we do than we are, So, of course, I'd like him to be, the next Eddie Van Halen or whatever. But, this kid's got so much charisma and so much charm and talent that whatever he does, I'm convinced he's going to be great at it. And he'll always have, my support 100%. And so it's more of love, and I'm not looking for him to be, the next senator or the next president of Guitar World,
Right, right. Okay, we have one more track to play for our listeners. This track is called Jealous of the Rain. Do you want to elaborate on that, Tracii?
Yeah, that's a big tune, huh? Scott wrote that song by himself. It was an acoustic song that when we were pretty much finished recording all the songs for the album, he just came up and goes, hey, I've been meaning to play you this song. You know, I know it's kind of late, but I think it's a good song. And he just sat down right in front of me with an acoustic guitar and just played it and sang it. And, you know, it's a really emotional song, you know. And my God, you know, you got to record just what you just did for me real quick, and I'll build the rest of the music around it. And we kind of did that, and then we brought it into the band. Actually, we played it after, you know, right after we heard it, the first few times, and we learned the song kind of half-assed when we went out on our first little run about 4 months ago, and it kind of evolved into something. We never really played all the way through the song live on that first run because it wasn't a completed song for the band. And when we got back home for summer to finish the record is when we really got in there and came up with an arrangement and recorded it and did everything. And it's just such an obviously fantastic, you know, classic rock tune. And it's such a pleasure to have the amount of talent around me right now to be able to bring in things like this. And we've only just started, but yeah, Jealous of the Rain is a great example of, you know, a song that has that kind of popular potential, but it's still very organic, very artistic, and really pulls the heartstrings, you know, within the rock format.
Right, absolutely, absolutely. Okay, you're going to be listening to Jealous of the Rain, another new track by Tracii Guns and League of Gentlemen.
I hear the song of the rain cloud. I watch it dance as it flies away. I'm envious as it pours down, 'cause every day it can touch your precious face. I'm jealous of the rain. I feel the smile of the sunrise, and I admire how it wakes you up, and how it brightens your blue skies, the way I did when our love had first begun. I'm jealous of the sun, and I'm jealous of the moonlight in the sky, the way that every star can catch your eyes all in vain. But every time it storms, I go insane, 'cause I'm jealous of the rain. 'cause I'm jealous of the rain.
Okay, we're back here on Rock Out Radio with Tracii Guns and his new project, The League of Gentlemen. Tracii, is there anything you would have done differently or wanted to change during the course of your career?
Yeah, not been Santa Claus. Every time I want to move on to something else, I leave, other unappreciative people with the benefits of the last project, but that's just my nature, and I'm not going to change for the world. But, there are a lot of takers out there in the music business or any business. I guess it's human nature. And, I wish I had been a better judge of character through, the course of the first half of my life. That's the only thing. But other than that, I wouldn't have changed anything, musically or anything. I might have changed some production values and things like that, but that's a technical thing.
Right.
But I'm pretty proud of, the things I've achieved to this point, and particularly with what's coming out. To be able to do something like this far into my career is a pretty cool thing.
Awesome. So what are your plans for the future? Do you have anything, special like that you would like to project for the future?
No, because that's how God laughs at you, when you start thinking, oh, yeah, we're going to do this. I'm just going to keep creating, going with the flow, raise my son, and make the best music possible, get involved in a little bit more TV and film, and enjoy the rest of my life.
Mm-hmm. Do you plan on having any more kids?
We talk about having one more. I don't know. It's tough. Kids are tough, especially I travel, and my wife, she hates me because of what I do for a living, but she loves me. But, it's tough. It's tough on her, and leave her alone with two, because once we really get rolling here, I'm going to be gone 6 months out of the year, and that's no fun for mom and kids and everything. So Jagger, my son right now, he's almost old enough to come out on the road with her. So, I think we're looking forward to, to him being about 5 years old and being able to travel so we can all travel together more.
Oh, that would be great. That would be great.
It would.
Well, Tracii, I want to thank you for taking the time out from your busy tour schedule to speak with me here at Music 101 on Rock Out Radio, and we look forward to hearing more of your new great music.
Oh, thank you very much, and it's a real honor to be with you. Thanks.
Thank you, and have a great show. Tomorrow night, I think you're playing, right?
Yeah, that's right. I got the night off to tinker with tape machines.
There you go. All right, Tracii, well, you have a great night off, and we'll see you out on the road.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
This is Alexis Steele from Music 101, and you're listening to Rock Out Radio, the backbone of Northeast PA.